United States is in Asia, education is extremely important. My kids go to local public schools in Singapore, and I will tell you they've had more homework in 2 or 3 years than I had in 12 years in the U.S., and it's much more advanced and demanding their education. In the U.S., I don't have to explain about U.S. education, including tertiary education in the U.S.
Our private schools are still the private graduate schools are still the best in the world, correct?
You say that, I don't.
I'm with Mr. Rogers. My kids go to school in Asia, and they've gotten a far superior education.
Even the graduate, I'm talking about private graduate schools like the Ivy League schools, the private universities.
America's done a great job of PR about its education, but there was a recent study which showed that 50% of American university graduates cannot read an editorial and tell you what it says. They cannot
Bingo.
read. They cannot read a credit card application and tell you what they're applying for. Now, I'm sure they all the ones who go to Columbia.
Well, he teaches at Carnegie Mellon now, so.
Okay. Well, I went to a couple of very fancy universities, not in Asia, but
Columbia.
I went to Yale.
Yale. Oh, sorry.
We taught at Columbia together, by the way. I just want you to know that.
I taught at Columbia.
Do you know,
but
you know how
my
you
second
know a
point,
person
please.
has gone to Yale University?
Yes.
They tell you.
I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you. You said I went to Columbia. You said I went to Columbia.
They say that about Harvard too. Harvard, man.
But the second major,
And maybe even Princeton. No.
the second
Have
major,
to.
the second major difference in Asia and America today is that there's a gigantic rate of savings and investing in Asia. You know, in China they save and invest over 35% of their income. In America, our savings rate is 2%. And America is now the largest debtor nation, not just the largest debtor nation in the world, but the largest debtor nation in the history of the world.
Recorded history.
In recorded history, yeah,
But
recorded
you
history.
buy into Ben Bernanke's argument that this is a savings glut and it's really keeping productivity down? Would you buy into that argument?
Well, Mr. Bernanke went to Harvard and taught at Princeton. What more do I need to tell you?
Now, Steve Forbes, I noticed you had your hand up. You do an annual conference in Asia. Another one's coming up in September, I believe. You seem to really like the Asian mentality. So what do you see? What can we learn from the Asians?
Very simple. Work, low taxes, governments that get it, things happen. Very, very basic. And the Europeans mostly have forgotten it. The universities here are trying to make us forget it. That's why Freedom Fest is important. Libertarians are important. They won't let them forget. They may forget, but the rest of us won't. And we're going to take it back.
So, Steve, what is the capital gains tax rate in Hong Kong?
Zip.
What is the tax on interest in dividends in Hong Kong?
Zip. And their flat tax is 16%. But they do, if you love complexity, they have a progressive system, your choice, between 2% and 20%. That's the kind of choice we have to have here.
And they don't change their tax laws every 2 or 3 years. You can depend on the tax rate. Singapore is the same way, correct?
Yeah.
Both of you.
Very, very low taxes.
Did you know that Joel Stern teaches at the University of Singapore?
I did not. I should maybe go and take his course. But
Yeah.
I doubt if I would pass.
I would like, by the way, I would like to make a comment just for a second. You know, when you talk about graduate schools and the like, where do students, if they have the wherewithal, choose to go? Because that's the market speaking. I teach at the National University of Singapore, and I want you to know something. If those students had the choice, they would go to Harvard, Stanford, Chicago, MIT, Wharton, easily over NUS. Why? Take a look again. There have been about 90 Nobel Prize winners in the field of economics. Can you mention anybody from Japan or China or who has won that? Only one in India?
Jim is about to answer.
Yeah, yes. I would remind you that the Nobel Prize in Economics started in 1969. Asia was here in 1969. Europe and America were here in 1969. Joel just made the point. All the Nobel economics winners are from the West. America's gone like this since 1969. Europe has gone like this since 1969. Asia has gone like this. Not a single Asian has ever won the Nobel Prize because the Nobel Prize is fixed. You know who picks the Nobel Prize winners? The academics. They reward each other.
That's right.
I mean, this is one of the greatest.
Well put.
I just want to repeat to make sure it sinks in. Not a single Asian has won the Nobel Prize in economics since 1969.
No.
Look at what's happened.
In
Mr.
India.
Sen, but he taught in Cambridge. He taught at Cambridge University in England. He was Indian by birth, but he doesn't live in India.
All right.
For goodness, he's got better sense.
One final question in our remaining 2 minutes. We can start with Roberto and go all the way down. When we meet next year at the Global Economic Summit, will America rise up, become great again through tax reform? Are we going to see tax reform? Are we going to see deregulation of healthcare and Dodd-Frank? Yes or no? Roberto Salinas.
Yes, I do think that we will see it. There's a greater likelihood of that through the elements of a closed society. So hopefully we'll be celebrating in July of 2018 making America great again, not just in the United States, in all of the Americas.
Well, very optimistic view. Steve Forbes?
I think we will finally get a tax cut. As I said yesterday, political hangings do focus the minds of even Washington politicians. And you just do a little bit for this country and people will run with it.
Barbara, are we going to catch up with Europe?
I hope not. And you must, because, just to quote Merkel in this way, in a positive way, there is no alternative of doing those right things. So you must do it.
Good. Keith?
I am cautiously optimistic that Washington will realize and get out of its own way and benefit the people it ostensibly serves.
Joel Stern.
If we get rid of the onerous regulations and we slash the tax rate to our major trading partners level of about 22%, then we have a chance to grow at 4% or more.
Everybody should be very worried, because we're going to have a horrible disaster in the next couple of years, not just in the U.S., but worldwide. So get knowledgeable, get worried, and get prepared.
Can you believe that we were on the main stage for exactly 30 minutes? Jim Rogers ended when it went 0-0-0. Give a warm up thanks for our great panelists. And you all have different sessions. We look forward to it. So I'm now going to turn the time back over to Naomi. Thank you.